What's up, everyone? Dan here, Crypto Capital Venture, January 6th, 2020. Bitcoin makes an awesome move today. I want to talk about this move, what it means. Right now, Bitcoin just broke $7,900 for the first time today. So close to $8,000. We're going to talk about this move and huge resistance that was broken today. Before I do, I want to just throw this out there. Be watchful. Anytime Bitcoin starts pumping a little bit, be watchful. And I did use that word pumping, and that's what I want to talk about to start this video. I did a video on Bitcoin's birthday 3 days ago. Incredible Bitcoin pump on BTC birthday. Is this the bullish reversal? I was being sarcastic in talking about Bitcoin pumping that day because if you remember on that day, I talked about in that video, and this is right here, this day right here. It's a nice green candle. Just testing this 50 moving average. I talked about everybody on Twitter going crazy saying Bitcoin is pumping, and it wasn't. It was up like 5-6% or something. But in that video, we talked about what a pump might look like. And a pump would look like a continuation to hitting Bitcoin target $8,700 up here. Is that happening right now? That's something I want to talk about in this video. So let's talk about a couple things. Number one, we're going to talk about the weekly Fibonacci and Bitcoin putting in a higher low. We have to be mindful and watchful of this. Number two, if breakout does occur, be ready for a massive pullback to test the 50 weekly moving average. So let's jump into the charts and talk about this. For context, this breakout target, because I know a lot of you are probably wondering that right off the bat. What is this breakout target? It's very simple. It is the height from this neckline to the head in this inverse head and shoulders. Here's the inverse head and shoulders. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. We tested that neckline, came back down, which is typical for Bitcoin in a head and shoulders pattern. And then we came back up to test that neckline, and we've broken it. And we've really been tracking this, but we've been tracking this in synergy with something else that is incredibly important. And that is this. Let's open this up a little bit. We had a head and shoulders that we were tracking. The head and shoulders is busted now. It's no longer in play. But here it is, the left shoulder, the head, and then the right shoulder right here. Now, this area, which is this swing high right around $7,800, and this line is taken across, is a huge area for Bitcoin to have broken. Now, right now, the daily chart is above it. Bitcoin trading above it on the daily chart, literally right now, as you see. I'm curious to see how the daily candle will close and what happens after that. And it's something we'll continue to do in our technical analysis videos. But this was a huge area for Bitcoin to break through. We talked about this neckline being obviously extremely important for Bitcoin to break above. We talked about the 50 moving average, incredibly important for Bitcoin to break above. It's confluent with that neckline. But we did talk about this being maybe even a more relevant area of resistance for Bitcoin to break above, and it did today. And that's probably the one thing that makes me most bullish, at least in the short term, for Bitcoin. Now, that is dependent upon how this daily candle closes today and what happens in the coming 24 hours. But it's extremely relevant to Bitcoin. Now, I started this video, I said to be watchful. What is this weekly Fibonacci that I'm talking about? What is this higher low that I'm talking about for Bitcoin? So let me zoom in on this weekly chart a little bit. Very important to note right now, this weekly candle, and I tweeted about this today, this weekly candle broke the 50 moving average, the 50-week moving average, this blue line. This is something we've been struggling with for I think the last 5-6 weeks for Bitcoin. Now, in any reversal, long-term reversal, Bitcoin in a bull market will trade steadily and strongly above this 50 moving average. And it's something we were waiting a long time for Bitcoin to exit that bear market, and we got it. Now, same thing as Bitcoin puts in this higher low on the Fibonacci retracement from that bear market low to swing high that we had in summer, Bitcoin's putting in this higher low somewhere in here, right? So we have to continue to be mindful, even though we're getting some short-term gains above the 50-week moving average right here, right? We're above it right now. We have to be mindful of this entire channel down here, which we've been calling for that support for Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin going to continue testing that? Are we going to come back down and test this channel? Right here is the 618. Down here is the 786, around $5,500. And these things are always in play, and you always want to be mindful of these until we really put in some higher highs and higher lows above that area. And so that's what I'm looking at in terms of Bitcoin on the weekly Fibonacci. Now, zooming out a little bit again, I said if breakout does occur, be ready for massive pullback to test the 50-week moving average. So let's zoom back in and check this out. So this is the weekly chart. And if we look at our $7,600 that we were, or I'm sorry, $8,600 target that we were just looking at on the daily chart, we can see, well, if this weekly continues up, right, and we get this breakout, maybe it's today, maybe it's tomorrow, maybe it's this week, I don't know, we have to be watchful for a retracement back down to the 50-week moving average. And just to give you a sense of that, if we did hit our target up here around $8,600, right now that would be like a 10% dip for Bitcoin to come back down and test that 50-week moving average. That is incredibly relevant for Bitcoin. So I want to throw that out there. In all reality, the best illustration of what we want to see Bitcoin do right now is found very strongly and very nicely in the bottom of the bear market, right? So here's the bottom of the bear market mid-December. We finally broke above the 50 moving average that tells the story. The 50 moving average tells the story of Bitcoin. And Bitcoin just continued to put higher highs and higher lows above that 50-day moving average, right? And then we break out. And then it keeps doing that, right? Breakout above the 50-day moving average. We are at the very, very beginning. It's nice that we're seeing some moves for Bitcoin, but we have a long way to go. And we're breaking huge resistance, but at this point, what needs to happen is we start seeing support at that resistance. So support at $7,300 even if Bitcoin comes to test that 50-day moving average or this neckline. Very normal, by the way, if that happens, but will we see support there? And then will we put in a higher high? And then will this continue above this 50-day moving average? This is why we do technical analysis, to be prepared, not to predict. And this is what I'm looking at on the chart. Bitcoin looks awesome right now. Will it continue? Let's just sit back and watch with patience without getting hype. Let me know your thoughts below. If you're here right now and you're not a subscriber, I appreciate you hitting that subscribe button. I also appreciate you hitting that like button on the way out. And I simply just appreciate you. I hope you have a great rest of the night. I'll see you in the next video, and God bless.